on SportsCenter all night. A massive development in Saquon Barkley's contract stalemate.
This is my leverage. My leverage is, I can say to the Giants, I can say to my teammates and be like, you want me to show you my worth? You want to show you how valuable I am to the team? I won't show up.
The AL East lead is on the line with the Rays and Orioles in action.
Breaking ball hammered, right field. This one is headed for the bleachers, and this ball will find the bleachers. It is gone.
Nick Saban takes center stage at SEC Media Days.
It's just a great challenge, every year. So I don't ever look backwards. I'm always looking forward. And this is just a challenging opportunity.
Plus, Draymond Green opens up about his feud with Jordan Poole.
We know stuff that you don't say amongst men. You know what I'm saying? We know things that you have to stand on.
This is SportsCenter all night.
I already think Kirby Smart is the best coach in college football. I don't think that's really that debatable. I think Nick Saban is very close. But right now, Kirby Smart owns college football.
Here's Jay Reynolds.
SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Can you hear a Bronx cheer all the way from New Jersey? Can you see a double bird through the Lincoln Tunnel? We may get those answers before week 1 of the NFL season. That is straight ahead. But speaking of New York, things have not been going well for the Yankees, especially on their road trip. Wednesday playing in Anaheim and trying to avoid a sweep.
Last year, again, 315 against lefties.
Here's the next pitch. This is lifted high, and this is hit deep out near the 390 sign, and that ball's out of here. Another home run. Rengifo connects, and for Luis, that's number 7. Angels have had a pair of homers in the first 2 innings. It's 4-0.
4-0 at that point. It would get worse in the 8th.
So we'll see what gives here. The 3-2, and Ward lifts one high in the air. Long run for the left fielder, and chasing and unable to make the catch on that one is Cabrera, and that is a fair ball. Then it takes a hop and goes over the sidewall, and so that is going to be a ground rule double and a run batted in, and the Angels add on and now lead it 7-3.
Angels Radio AM 830, 7-3 the final. Angels with a sweep, their 4th 3-game sweep of the season, their first sweep against the Yankees since July of 2009. Angels get the win. They've homered in 18 straight games, tying the longest streak in franchise history. That was set in 1982. 42 combined strikeouts in the series. Angels most in a 3-game series in franchise history. Shohei Ohtani, 0 for 1 with 4 walks, tied for the most walks he's had in a game in his career. Angels beat the Yankees. New York 2-9 over the past 11. First baseman Anthony Rizzo.
The mood's down for sure. I think we definitely all expect, better of ourselves individually and as a team. And it's okay to be down right now. I think it's a close group that, this is a low point, and we've been battling, but this is part of it, and that's what we keep telling each other. This is part of the journey. This is the story of the 2023 season, and this is what we're dealt with. These are the cards in front of us, and we just got to keep playing.
Yankees feeling down at the moment, and evidenced by pitcher Carlos Rodon. 4 1/3 innings, gave up 6 runs. He's 0-3 with 12 earned runs in his first 3 appearances this season. Not the best outing on Wednesday, and in the middle of it, as he was walking off the field after the 2nd inning, Yankees fans in Anaheim letting him hear it, and he blew a kiss.
I guess it was the best reaction I could give. But better not to give a reaction, I guess. But just one of those things. I was frustrated, and better to blow a kiss or not do anything at all. So it's just a frustrating outing, that's for sure. And I showed it there in the 2nd early.
So he was frustrated and perhaps not the best decision made as he walked off the field. His manager, Aaron Boone.
Tough for him to be out, and then he comes back and had a rough go of it today. He wants to help this team turn it around, and I think probably that prevented him from doing something that he didn't want to do, which is yell at a fan or yell at somebody. Not the reaction you want, and not, we've talked about it. But when you're in the arena and you're going through it, sometimes you do things, you don't necessarily want to engage in, and, hopefully he'll learn from that and move on. But I think it was better than getting into a shouting match or doing something that he would regret.
Yankees 2-9 over the past 11, going back to July 5th, tied with the Pirates for the worst in baseball over that span. As for the trade deadline, which is now a week and a half away, the question remains, what's the right thing to do with Shohei Ohtani? ESPN insider Buster Olney.
There's no doubt that the right baseball move right now is to trade him. And really, the right baseball move would have been to trade him last summer when he had a year and a half left and teams could impact 2 pennant races. They could have gotten a huge package, like a package of prospects that would have reset them for years to come. But now you're probably getting 60 or 70% of what you might have gotten last year. And that is absolutely the right thing to do now for the Angels, because they're not close to being a team that competes for the playoffs on an annual basis. And the full expectation with folks with other teams is Ohtani is going to go someplace where he feels like he has a better chance to win. Maybe it is the Dodgers, maybe it's the Giants, but they haven't made the playoffs since he's been there, despite the fact he's playing along with Mike Trout. And so if he winds up leaving, all the Angels are going to have left to show for it are some draft picks, and that's nothing.
Angels are a game over 500, 9 games back in the division, 4.5 out of a wild card spot. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio mentioned the Yankees. They're in the basement in the AL East. At the top of the division, Baltimore.
Breaking ball hammered, right field. This one is headed for the bleachers, and this ball will find the bleachers. It is gone. The Orioles get one back on the long ball from Gunnar Henderson, who waves out towards the crowd in right center field. Homer number 15 for Gunnar.
Number 15 on the season, 4th homer for Henderson in the last 10 games. WBAL with the call. Orioles beat the Dodgers 8-5. Baltimore avoiding a 3-game sweep. They have not been swept in a series this season. Orioles atop the division, percentage points ahead of the Rays, who were swept at Texas.
The set by Kelly and the pitch. And that ball is driven deep to right field. Home run, Jonah Heim. A line drive blast that sails over Margot and goes at least a half dozen rows up into the seats. 14th home run of the year for Jonah. And we've got some separation now. It's 5-0 Texas.
I'm going 2 for 4 with that home run. He drives in 3 runs as the Rangers beat the Rays 5-1, 105.3 The Fan. Rangers get the win, 6-game win streak, their longest of the season. It's their 7th series sweep as they get past the Rays, who dropped to 3-11 in the month of July, 2nd worst record in the majors this month. A night ago, the Mets jumped out to a 5-0 lead, ultimately hung on for an 11-10 win over Chicago. Wednesday winds up being a little deja vu.
Beatty, who homered last night, the 0-1. Swing, a line drive, dead center field. On the run is Robert. Back to the warning track. Back to the wall. He leaps at the wall. It's gone. Brett Beatty goes to dead center field for the 2nd straight night. And the Mets take a 1-0 lead. Beatty off first. He goes. Payoff pitch. Swing, a line drive towards the line. Slicing towards the corner. It's going to fall in. A base hit. Benintendi can't get there. Beatty's around third. Coming to the plate. The relay's on its way. It's late. And an RBI double for Brandon Nimmo. And the Mets lead 5-0.
Another 5-0 lead. Unlike a night ago, they didn't have to hang on for the win. WCBS with the call. Mets jump out to the 5-0 lead. They beat the White Sox 5-1. But they did have 5-0 leads in consecutive games for the first time since last September in a doubleheader against Pittsburgh. Justin Verlander goes 8 innings of 3 hit balls, striking out 7. His manager, Buck Showalter.
Yeah, he had all his pitches. I know y'all get tired of hearing that, but, you know, you had to honor all of them. Drop a curveball in there against the left-handers, and when he felt he could exploit something, he went with it and was able to get to it. A lot of times you've got a sequence set up and you can't make the pitch that you know they're susceptible to. But, you know, he was the difference.
Verlander, fourth pitcher this season with multiple games of 8 innings worked and 3 or fewer hits allowed. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
Saquon's going to have to either decide to play this year on the tag or to not. But sitting out a couple games, I don't think does anything for leverage.
I think the Giants really screwed this up. I think the optics of it are terrible.
He is their offense, and he is that safety net for Daniel Jones.
Everybody in the locker room knows he's the most valuable person on that team. But you're going to pay the quarterback $40 million, who's mediocre at best. And if Saquon Barkley doesn't show up, Daniel Jones can't carry that team.
3 running backs franchise tagged, each unable to reach a long-term deal. In New York, Giants and Saquon Barkley were reportedly close, within a couple million, but not close enough. And now Barkley is looking at the $10 million franchise tender. Or is he? He does have a choice: sign the tender and play, or don't sign and sit out.
This is my leverage. My leverage is I can say to the Giants, I can say to my teammates and be like, you want me to show you my worth? You want to show you how valuable I am to the team? I won't show up. I won't play it down. And that's a play I can use. Anybody knows me, knows that's not something I want to do. But like, it's something that crossed my mind. It's like I never thought I would ever do that. But like now I'm in a point where it's like, Jesus, like I might have to take it to this level.
Barkley making his comments on the Money Matters podcast. Money Matters actually recorded 5 days prior to the deadline for a deal. Giants veterans will be reporting to camp next Tuesday. Barkley not expected to be there. ESPN Giants reporter Jordan Ronan.
Now it's the contemplation of whether he shows up, whether he plays in games. He knows this is the leverage he has now, because the goal now is, okay, the Giants weren't willing to pay me to what I thought I was worth, if you're Saquon Barkley. So how do I get now to a point where I can get paid what I feel I'm worth? And the only path to that is getting to free agency now, because he can't be signed by any time till the end after the season.
Right.
He already knows the Giants aren't willing to go there of what he thinks he's worth. So the only way to do it is by hitting free agency, having multiple teams go out there, and then maybe one is out there. Maybe there's multiple teams involved. That's how you get the price up usually on these things. That's his option to get there. So how does he get there? Well, he said last month it would be part of the conversation, is the term that he used, sitting out this season or sitting out games.
And it is a consideration. We'll see what Barkley ultimately does. He says it's not the kind of guy he is to do something like that. That's the Giants situation. Meanwhile, their roommates, the Jets, are in the limelight for the bar for success being set pretty high. Is this a Super Bowl or bust season? ESPN's Louis Riddick.
Nope, no. Don't enjoy it. I don't want them to enjoy nothing. I want them to get to the Super Bowl, and if not, you're going to be miserable, because that's what you get. Because you've been saying all off season, Aaron. I agree with Aaron this, Aaron that. All last year, what was it? If we had a quarterback, we would be winning the division. We'd be smoking Buffalo. Yep. New England wouldn't even be in the picture. We could deal with Kansas City. We can deal with Cincy. We'd be as good as anybody. Well, what did they do this offseason? They went all in. They got the 4-time MVP. He brought his offensive coordinator. He brought a couple of his boys in Lazard and Cobb. They have firepower on the perimeter. They've got a shutdown type caliber defense. No. Win the Super Bowl or shut up.
Jets are going to have success if they want to be happy at the end of the season. ESPN's Chris Canty.
When I look at the expectations and then I look at the reality of the situation in the history of the game, it's hard for me to imagine that this season is going to end the way that Jets fans wanted to, just because it's going to be a heavy lift for Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback that this team needs him to be in order for them to win a championship.
Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great season. By great, I mean this is a 3,800-yard guy. He'll throw 30-plus, if not 35-plus touchdowns, and he'll have less than 8 interceptions, the typical Aaron Rodgers season that we're used to seeing. But I also don't think the Jets are going to win 10 games. I think they might be lucky to win 9. So that's because their schedule's tough. They're going to play some high-level quarterbacks. They're going to play playoff teams from last year. And it's really hard to win a lot of games in the NFL every year.
Our Mark Zinno earlier on ESPN Radio. The Jets, meanwhile, making another change in the wide receiver group. Denzel Mims traded to the Lions with 2025 draft picks also included in the deal. Mims was a second-round pick in 2020. Best coach in the SEC may not be who you think. That's next. SportsCenter All Night continues. It's ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Williams. Coming up on Thursday, is Aaron Rodgers the 4th best quarterback in the league? Is Jalen Hurts the 6th best quarterback in the league? I'll tell you why the executives got their rankings wrong. Don't miss it, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN app, and ESPNU.
This is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio.
We mark every inch they grow, but something can be growing that we don't see. It's what doctors call toxic stress. There are steps parents can take to help. Learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress at first5california.com.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
It's back to school at Ala Moana Center. Redeem $400 in Ala Moana Center receipts dated July 17th through August 6th, and you'll receive a limited edition back to school retro lunchbox. For details, visit alamoanacenter.com.
Summer's just around the corner, so when you're offering building services to your customers, why not add another string to your bow? Plungy. Plungy's patented range of award-winning prefabricated concrete pools means you don't need to be a pool builder to install one. It's fast, easy, and high quality. So expand that range of services you offer and increase your margins with Plungy. Call 855-PLUNGY. That's PLUNGIE. Or visit Plungy.com.
At Wells Fargo, if you accidentally overdraw your account, we give you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with an extra day?
Sunday night and I have the Sunday scaries.
Honey, don't be scared. Every weekend comes with an extra day now.
All right. TGI Sunday.
It helps to have an extra day. When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getextra to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to timing requirements and the bank's funds availability policy. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
130 million households will need to pay a new can tax so Cleveland Cliffs can line their pockets. Cleveland Cliffs is demanding tariffs on tin plate steel, which is used for canned goods. How much? Up to a 300% increase that makes everyday essentials more expensive, hitting you and the most vulnerable hardest at a time when consumers can least afford it. Tell Congress, protect consumers from even higher grocery prices. Say no to the Cleveland Cliffs can tax.
Chlorinated water is for swimming, not drinking or bathing. Cities add chlorine to your water, causing dry skin and hair. A LifeSource water system is the solution to your water worries. A LifeSource system filters your water from every tap, reducing the harsh taste and feel of chlorine and giving you softer skin and hair without maintenance, no salt, filters, or servicing. Call 888-208-1159 for a free consultation or visit LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
At Rocket, we know buying a home is exciting and a bit overwhelming. Ready to buy a home but stressed about writing those big checks? Rocket can help you save. When you buy with Rocket Homes and finance with Rocket Mortgage, you can get up to $10,000 cash toward closing from Rocket Mortgage. It's a pretty big deal, and one you can get only with Rocket. Visit onlywithrocket.com to get started today.
For purchase transactions only, must log rate between 331 and 831. Call 8337-ROCKET for conditions and restrictions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
I'm a sushi chef. I also happen to be a cat. How'd I get?
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. They're playing for a major in the UK this weekend, as ESPN's Mark Schlabach notes. It's not easy for the folks at the top.
World number one Scottie Scheffler is putting together one of the more consistent seasons the sport has seen in years, leading the PGA Tour with 15 top 10 finishes, including the first 3 major championships. But one club in Scheffler's bag continues to be an issue, the putter.
I think I had back-to-back tournaments that I could have won where I putted poorly, and all of a sudden it became this thing where, like, I'll watch highlights of my round, and, like, even the announcers, anytime you step over a putt, it's like, well, this is the part of the game he struggles with. And it's like, if you say it every time and you guys see me miss a 12-footer, it's like, oh, there it is, he's struggling again. And it's one of those deals where I don't pay attention to it. The things that I'm working on right now, I feel very excited about. I'm hitting a lot of good putts, and pretty soon a lot of those good putts will start falling in the middle of the hole instead of dodging around the side of it. And I have a lot of faith in what I'm working on right now, and I'm hoping to see some results soon.
Scheffler ranks first on tour in 4 strokes gained categories. He ranks 137th in putting. He tees off at 4:47 a.m. with Tommy Fleetwood and Adam Scott.
Opening round at Royal Liverpool Thursday. Back stateside, we're getting ourselves ready for college football. Colorado coach Deion Sanders going to miss Pac-12 Media Days Friday. He's having a procedure on his foot Thursday. The school says his recovery will keep him from attending. SEC Media Days continuing, and one of the burning questions is the quarterback situation at Alabama. Coach Nick Saban.
Obviously, the number one that people are most interested in is the quarterback. We had a great quarterback, won the Heisman Trophy. Bryce did a fantastic job for us. So we have 3 guys that are competing for that position right now. All those players are getting better, and it's important for us that all those players get better. I don't think anybody has actually separated themselves yet to this point, and I don't think it's something that we're trying to rush. I used the analogy earlier, Grandma Saban used to bake the best cakes in the world. And I used to stand by the oven when I was a kid and say, when's this cake going to be done? When's this cake going to be done? And she said, if I don't let it go through and take it out of the oven too soon, it's going to turn to mush, so it won't be a really good cake. So I think we got to let this sort of develop and make sure we let the cake bake until somebody separates themselves. And all the players are working hard. They all have a good attitude. They're all competing well.
See how long that cake stays in the oven. Alabama, as a whole, considers itself pretty hungry after the down season they had last year. The Crimson Tide saying that they fell victim to high expectations a year ago. It caused a sense of anxiety, led to too many mental errors, according to Coach Nick Saban. As for Nick Saban's place in college football or in the conference, here's our Paul Feinbaum.
Every time you have a conversation about Nick Saban, you get a bunch of people yelling at you saying, hey, don't you realize he's one? Yeah, we know that. But it would be like asking you guys, do you think Bill Belichick's still the best coach in the NFL? Of course not. He's got the most titles, but he's not the best coach. And I think that's where Saban is. Now, is he the second best coach? I believe he is. But that's the problem is Nick Saban has never been the second best coach in the SEC or in college football. And right now he's entering a new season with 2 new coordinators and an unknown quarterback. That's a bad mix. He's never had an obstacle like this. I mean, he had to fight off Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer early in his career at Alabama, and he did. But Kirby Smart's program surpasses all of that. I mean, this is nobody has ever done this in the modern era. Saban's the last guy to make an assault on a three-peat with Kirby as his coordinator. But this is different because Georgia just doesn't seem like they're missing anything. Georgia going for a three-peat this season. And so who does Paul Feinbaum think might be the biggest threat to Georgia? I think it's Ohio State. And, I'm well aware of, a little bit of uncertainty at quarterback and the road game at Ann Arbor and even South Bend. But but guys. I mean, you just look at that. You look at the wide receivers and the running backs and the line and the defensive players. I mean, that's the only program right now in college football that can stack up player to player to Alabama and Georgia. I mean, there are others close with Caleb Williams is more talented, but certainly the roster isn't the same.
See if Georgia can pull off the three-peat. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio, WNBA. Enrique Gumbawale, 25 points. The Wings tied the WNBA record for the fewest turnovers in a game to beat the Liberty 98-88 in their game on Wednesday. Fever with an 82-76 win over the Mystics. Fever on a 15-0 run spanning the third and the fourth quarter after trailing prior to that run. Fifth road win this season. Straight ahead, why do you want that ball? That's next at ESPN Radio.
Grady.
If being on Hard Knocks creates any problems for this team, then they were going to have them anyway. You are the most interesting team in the NFL, and the Jets should embrace that.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Check it out.
You lifted your car?
Yep, refinanced my auto loan with Navy Federal. Put the money I saved towards an 18-inch lift kit. Pretty sweet, huh?
It's a minivan.
Well, now it's a mega van.
Members save over $700 a year on average when they refinance their auto loans with Navy Federal. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Payment savings based on new auto loans booked between January and April 2020 compared to prior loan payments. Your actual savings may be different. Insured by NCUA.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
We're headed back to school.
That means the family needs new clothes, so we signed up for Stitch Fix.
It's a stylist who does the shopping for us. Stitch Fix is easy.
I tell them what we like and give them our sizes.
Then we each get a box full of clothes that are just our style.
The looks are on point and on budget. We keep what works and send back the rest.
And there's no subscription required.
Our stylist does all the work, which means I have more time to focus on, well, everything else. Stitch Fix.
They just get us.
And they'll get you too.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Find special savings on top brands like DeWalt. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill for just $99 each. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members will earn 3 times the bonus points when shopping the Pro Zone. Shop in-store and online today. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. DeWalt offer valid through 8/2. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 7/28. Subject to change.
The best time to get a great deal on a Ram truck is now. During the Ram Make This the Summer event. Hurry in and make this the summer you drive a Ram. And now get 10% below MSRP or 2.9% financing for 72 months on the purchase of a 2023 Ram 1500 Bighorn. Not compatible with lease offers or any other consumer incentive offers. 2.9% APR financing for 72 months equals $15.15 per month per 1,000 finance for well-qualified buyers through Chrysler Capital regardless of down payment. Not all buyers will qualify. Contact dealer for details. Take retail delivery by 7/31.
If you're fighting the heat without energy-efficient windows, you're losing AC even with the windows closed. During Renewal by Anderson's replacement summer sale, get $276 off each window, $727 off each door, and 10% off your entire order. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 1 year. Restrictions apply. Call 918-921-1363 now. That's 918-921-1363 or go to summerwindowdeal.com to book your design consultation.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
You know how great your house looks and smells when it's just been cleaned? So fresh.
And somehow, a clean house makes your head feel fresher too. With a housekeeper from Care, you can reset your house and your head as often as you like for less than you think. Find a great housekeeper, set a schedule that works for you, and check cleaning off your to-do list so you can put your mind to other, more fun things. Get the housekeeping help you need at Care.com.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit Progressive.com.
Half-hour headlines on Sports Center All Night.
Open Championship underway at Royal Liverpool. Saquon Barkley has considered holding out. Angels pulling off a sweep of the Yankees, who continue to stumble this month. The big question is when. Yankees have dropped 9 of their last 11, sitting in the basement in the AL East. They could see a boost. We are now past the All-Star break. ESPN insider Buster Olney. Where's Aaron Judge?
So he's making progress. There's no doubt about it. Yesterday he was out in the outfield. He was running a little bit, but he's still not doing, all that he needs to do to be back. They feel like that he's close, but it's complicated. With a guy who's 6'7", 282, in terms of that right big toe is the anchor in his swing. They want to make sure he's right there. They want to make sure he's right in cutting the bases and running in the outfield. I don't think they necessarily have to have him back at 101%, but just knowing how the Yankees think, they're going to wait.
Judge did do some running prior to Wednesday's game, which was a loss in Anaheim to the Angels. What did manager Aaron Boone tell the team?
Acknowledge where we are, which is, we're not very good right now. We understand that. And certainly this is a low point for us. The silver lining in it all is it is in front of us, and we control that, and we understand that. So acknowledging that we're not in a good place as a team right now, we're not playing anywhere near the ball we need to be able to play to put ourselves in a good position at the end of the season. But understanding that we are in the fight, and we need to continue to stay in the fight and understand that we control all this with our play. And, this doesn't feel good when you're getting your teeth kicked in and you have a bad road trip or you're going through a tough stretch. But we gotta, we gotta deal with it.
And the Yankees continue to struggle. They've dropped 9 of their last 11. Outfielder Harrison Bader left during the 6th inning of the loss to the Angels because of bruised ribs after being hit by a pitch. Yankees at the bottom of the division, keeping pace with Boston.
As Bader to the plate, the 0-2 pitch. That's a drive to right field, and pretty well. Going back for Dugal near the track. He's at the wall, looks up, and it is gone! A 2-run homer for Jace Peterson, and the A's lead 6-2.
A's Cast with the call, 6-5. The final, Oakland with back-to-back home wins for the 4th time this season. Haven't won 3 straight at home yet this year. A's get the win, despite tying a season high with 4 errors. Boston now 10-4 in July. Back-to-back losses against Oakland. Manager Alex Cora.
Not great, to be honest with you. I mean, I think yesterday the kid threw the ball well. Today, obviously, Bayo wasn't, his usual. But right now where we at, 3-3, is okay.
Red Sox, best record in baseball in July, despite the back-to-back losses to the A's. Padres, a 2-0 shutout of the Blue Jays. Padres have won 5 of their last 6. Padres' 9th shutout this season, tied for the 5th most in baseball. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Cubs continue to score late in their games.
He sets at the belt and delivers the 1-1. Horner swings, drills one, deep left center field. This could go! Grand slam!
Nico Horner, first grand slam of his career, 8-3 Cubs over the Nationals here in the 8th.
Cubs Radio Network, 8-3 would be the final. Grand slam in the 8th inning. Cubs have 20 runs in the 7th inning or later in their last 2 games. They get the win over Washington. Again, Diamondbacks, a 5-3 win over the Braves. Back-to-back wins in Atlanta. They were swept in Atlanta last season, losing all 3 there. The Braves, meanwhile, have lost 4 straight, all at home. Cardinals-Marlins matchup Wednesday turned out to be, well, let's just say it was a painful one.
Here's a shot foul. Oh, that hit Jody Reed at third. That caught him on the right ankle.
Yeah, it did.
He's okay.
He's not going to rub it either.
No.
He wants to.
He tried, yeah.
He asked for the baseball.
He asked for the baseball because it's the one that fractured his leg. The Marlins third base coach gets hit by that foul ball. He stayed in the game during that inning, but wound up leaving an inning later. Marlins wind up losing to the Cardinals 6-4. Cardinals get the win over the Marlins. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
News bomb here from Pete Thamel. Northwestern has fired head coach Pat Fitzgerald.
A lot of this came down to the ambiguity over the knowledge of Pat Fitzgerald and the coaching staff.
This is a very emotional time and a difficult time for a team that in a few weeks has to get on the practice field and start preparing for a season. So a lot of uncertainty around the Northwestern program.
It's just as stunning of a downfall and as quick as a downfall as I've seen in my 2 decades covering college football.
Pat Fitzgerald and Northwestern certainly in the crosshairs since the allegations of hazing came to light. Now a civil rights attorney says his law firm and others have received reports of hazing from multiple sports programs at the school. ESPN investigative reporter John Barr.
This is shocking, deplorable, appalling, but it is not surprising.
Flanked by 4 former Wildcats football players, civil rights attorney Ben Crump took aim Wednesday at what he described as a deeply rooted culture of hazing and abuse within Northwestern University's athletic programs.
It is apparent to us that it is a toxic culture that was rampant in the athletic department at Northwestern University. If the coach or coaches didn't know, it would have to be malfeasance. It would have to be they were asleep at the wheel.
The graphic, sexually intense behavior was well known throughout the program. We were physically and emotionally beaten down, and some players have contemplated suicide as a result.
Former Wildcats football players Warren Miles Long, Tom Carnifax, Simba Short, and Lloyd Yates, a former wide receiver and quarterback whose great-grandfather, father, and older brother all attended Northwestern, shared similar stories.
We were all victims, no matter what our role was at the time. But the culture was so strong that we felt we had to go with it to survive, to be respected, and to earn the trust within the football program. There was a code of silence that felt insurmountable to break.
Yates says that code of silence was particularly hard on players of color, many of whom were the first in their families to attend college.
They had so much at stake and had no voice or power to stop the abuse. So today I'm proud to come forward amongst my brave teammates here today to let the truth be known, a truth that is perpetuated for decades.
2 former Northwestern football players have already sued their former school, naming several school officials and former Wildcats head coach Pat Fitzgerald as defendants. Fitzgerald has denied any knowledge of the hazing. Crump said Wednesday his law firm alone represents 15 former Northwestern athletes, but has heard from more than 50 who've reached out with similar allegations. Crump's co-counsel Steve Levin says they'll file a lawsuit shortly on behalf of those players, some of whom were minors when the hazing allegedly occurred. For ESPN, I'm John Barr.
Heard from Warren Miles Long. He says the hazing was rampant. He says new recruits had no sense of whether it was normal or limited to Northwestern. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. From college to the pros, no long-term deals for the franchised running backs this week. That means, of course, playing the season on the $10 million franchise tender. That's if they sign Tony Pollard has done that in Dallas. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley have not for their respective teams. Barkley telling the Money Matters podcast that his leverage is to say a few to the Giants and his teammates, but doesn't see himself as that kind of guy. Earlier on Greeny.
If I were him, and I know this may be one of the reasons I'm not a football player, I would have a strategy. I'm not saying I pretend to be hurt, but if you're an NFL player, particularly a running back, you don't have to pretend after week 1, probably before week 1. And I'm telling you right now, all those aches and pains, bumps and bruises, sprains and strains. You think I'm getting my knee shot up to go out there and play against Dallas next weekend? If I'm Saquon Barkley after the way you just handled me this offseason, hell no. I get seriously hurt this year, no one paying me a thing next year. I think the Giants really screwed this up. I really do. I think the optics of it are terrible. He's their most popular player. He's their most beloved player. They found all this money to pay this quarterback that no one thinks is that good. And they couldn't find a little bit for Saquon?
So does Barkley eventually join his teammates? ESPN NFL writer Bill Barnwell.
I really don't think, unfortunately, they have a ton of leverage. I know that because they're on the franchise tag, they can hold out. They're not technically under contract. They could theoretically wait an entire season, go into next offseason, and see if their teams try to do the same thing again. That did get Le'Veon Bell his free agency, but it cost him a year of salary. When you saw when Le'Veon Bell went to another team in free agency, he went to Adam Gase and the Jets, which I think he would tell you himself was probably the worst move of his entire career. So, unfortunately, I don't think these guys are in a position where they have a lot of leverage beyond eventually showing up and playing out this season on the franchise tag.
Since Barkley has not signed the tender, he can't be fined for missing training camp, which begins for the Giants veterans next Tuesday. Cowboys All-Pro guard Zach Martin might hold out from training camp. He's considering not reporting because of his unhappiness with his contract. He's scheduled to make about $7 million less this season than the NFL's best-paid guards. Steelers outside linebacker Alex Highsmith signing a 4-year, $68 million extension. The 25-year-old pass rusher coming off a breakout season. He'll make nearly $28 million in guaranteed money over the first 2 years of the deal. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Women's World Cup getting underway Thursday. Team USA plays Friday. The U.S. is plus 220 to win a third title. England has the best odds to be the team to deny the U.S. ESPN's Alexis Nunez, USA or England?
Honestly, this is the question that keeps me up at night, especially when I was trying to fill out my bracket for this tournament, because do you lean on what history suggests? And that is that the USA know how to win World Cups. And when I was speaking to Kelly O'Hara, I made the comparison of the USA in World Cups being like Real Madrid in the Champions League. There's just something that switches on, that they know how to win at all costs. They have that mentality. And everyone talks about the pressure that all these debutantes are going to face. There's 14 of them. Are they ready for it? And looking at all of them, Sophia Smith, I think, answered it perfectly yesterday in the press conference where she said, all we know is pressure. We were born into this. When they put on that U.S. women's national team kit, they only know winning. It's almost like us in Jamaica when Usain Bolt wins a gold medal. If he doesn't break a record while he's doing it, it's almost like, okay, I guess it was okay. USA only knows gold, and they know how to win big. But then you do know that I also cover the Lionesses as well, and the growth that I have seen them have over the last year under Serena Vigman is just absolutely unbelievable. I think they're playing with a lot more confidence, a lot more physicality as well. And yes, they are without some big name injuries like Leah Williamson, their usual captain, Beth Mead, another prolific goal scorer. But they have two very big keys, I think, to winning this World Cup. One, they're like Manchester City in club football. They have such a deep squad. They're without Leah Williamson, but they do have someone really experienced who can lead to, like Lucy Bronze. She's been through a number of World Cups. She's suffered heartbreak, but she's also suffered jubilation in winning the Euros. She's now recently won the Champions League. They want a prolific goal scorer. Well, they've got Alessia Russo. She links up really well with Ella Toone. And they've also got Lauren James, who is an absolute boss, and she has been coming off a great season at Chelsea. And then They have a manager in Serena Wigman who knows how to use these players tactically to an amazing degree. Serena Wigman, I think, is probably England's biggest weapon. She's has to be in that top 2 of best managers of women's national teams right now in the world. Her tactical ability, her ability to bring on the right substitutions at the right time, I think definitely shows why she was able to win back-to-back Euros and why she definitely has an eye on this World Cup.
And we'll see who will be the team standing at the end of this World Cup. Straight ahead, how bad was the feud? Sports Center All Night continues at ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Williams. Coming up on Thursday, Nick Saban hasn't won a title in 2 years. I'll tell you if it's time for Bama fans to start worrying about their future. Don't miss it. 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN app, and ESPNU.
ESPN Radio Sports Center all night. More next.
Lunchables with 100% juice, built to be eaten.
When picking a commerce platform, you have 2 choices.
Oh, you piece of...
Or...
Yeah!
That's the sound of selling on Shopify, the commerce platform that supercharges your selling, online and in person. Why battle inferior platforms' weak tools? And limited integrations.
Would have helped to know this.
Join the millions of businesses growing on Shopify and ignite your selling.
Less, more.
Start your free trial today at shopify.com/special offer 23. Shopify.com/special offer 23.
It's summertime in the Valley, and that's the time of year where you start to notice maybe you need a brand new ride. What's going on? It's Reed for Air Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. They're just off Frank Lloyd Wright in Scottsdale. And these guys, they listen to you, the customer. They have a brand new team in place to literally take care of you from start to finish on your new car purchase. And when you swing by Air Park, you want to ask for my pal, Val. He's the guy that's going to get you the best deal in town. Val, what you got going on this month?
Hey, Reed. What's up, Scottsdale? Hey, come on down to Aero Park. If you're looking for a brand new SUV, 23 Grand Cherokee Limited, currently $8,100 off. Ask for your pal Val. And as always, my power team will make sure you will get the best buying experience ever.
You got to check out the Summer of Jeep sales event happening right now at Air Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off Frank Lloyd Wright in Scottsdale. Ask for your pal Val and find him online at airparkcars.com. Stock number PC507705 on approved credit. See dealer for details.
Why wait until November when Black Friday deals are going on now at Ashley? Because it's never too early to shop incredible deals for every room of your home. Shop doorbusters starting at just $2.99 and take advantage of low monthly payments with 60-month special financing. Visit your local Ashley store and experience Black Friday in July. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval, no minimum purchase required, minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery required. See store for details.
Wells Fargo lets you know where you stand with your FICO credit score. What if you knew where you stood with everything? Like your kids' friends.
Hey, boys. How do cows stay informed?
Dad, don't.
They read the Moo paper.
Mr. Otis, you're the funniest.
It's good to know where you stand. And when it comes to your FICO credit score, you can with a Wells Fargo account.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getFICO to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. FICO is a registered trademark of Fair Isaac Corporation in the United States and other countries. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
If you're fighting the heat without energy-efficient windows, you're losing AC even with the windows closed. During Renewal by Anderson's replacement summer sale, get $276 off each window, $727 off each door, and 10% off your entire order. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 1 year. Restrictions apply. Call 918-921-1363 now. That's 918-921.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio. Golf, at least from the golf world, former girlfriend of Tiger Woods has dropped a $30 million lawsuit. The dismissal of the lawsuit was filed on June 29th. Meanwhile, the Open Championship in the midst of the opening round. And, of course, a lot of eyes on some of the world's best golfers. Rory McIlroy coming off the win last weekend in Scotland. Does the momentum continue? Rory or the field? Round the horn.
Ooh, I'm going with my heart here. What I saw from Rory on the 17th and 18th at the Scottish last week when he birdied those final two holes, we know in his last 10 majors, he's finished, top 6 or top 7. He won at Royal Liverpool in 2014. Rory, don't do this to me. Do not make me look stupid. I am going with Rory versus the field.
Yeah, you talked yourself into it. Kevin Blackistone, buy or sell Rory.
Well, the only panelist here who's covered the British Open at Royal Liverpool and who the other week gave you Djokovic's streak being broken. I am telling you right now that Rory's streak also will be broken and that he will bring home for himself a tournament win here.
Kevin Blackistone and Courtney Cronin both like Rory McIlroy this weekend. The NBA world, of course, last October, a little bit in shock when we saw Draymond Green throw that punch to Jordan Poole during the preseason practices. That video that got leaked. Never been revealed exactly what was said leading up to that punch. Green on the Pat Bev podcast.
I don't just hit people. Dialogue, of course, happens over time. And you usually ain't just triggered by something like that fast, to that degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a team. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody on my team triggering me, in an instant. We know stuff that you don't say amongst men. You know what I'm saying? We know things that you have to stand on.
Moving forward, speaking of being trigger happy over dialogue, Draymond Green and Chris Paul are now teammates. Former rivals, now teammates. It's been over a decade that they've played against each other, and they've had their share of words.
It's no sugarcoating what has happened all these years. This is real life, man. Like, people get it twisted like, oh, man, like, you're in character when no, this is real life we live in when we playing in these games. And so, like, to just go front and act like all of those things was fake, like, I've publicly said I didn't like Chris before. Like, I'm just not going to be like, oh, man, that changed, now he's my teammate. No, I look forward to talking amongst men. I look forward to working with another adult. I've had my fair share of days of, like, not working with adults and people who don't move like adults. So I'm looking forward to going to work with an adult. You know what I'm saying?
Draymond Green and Chris Paul certainly faced each other many times over the last 11 seasons, and now they're wearing the same jersey. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Speaking of wearing jerseys, Team USA getting its World Cup competition underway on Friday. Some of the members of Team USA say this will be the best World Cup ever. From ESPN FC, Alejandro Moreno.
Well, it's a convenient thought, and it's a company line, really, that we have heard from players, coaches, tournament organizers. They have said exactly the same thing, and they're talking about the strength and depth for the teams, that it is a deeper feel, that you have more talent spread across more teams around the world, that the distances between the bottom and the tops, that gap continues to shorten, continues to shrink. All right, it's a narrative. It's a conversation. I want to see it on the field. So that's what I'm looking for. I want to see if indeed that gap has closed. And the only way to show that, the best evidence, is having upsets.
Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. As for the top sounds from Wednesday, here's Doug Brown.
Number 3.
Jay, will start in Kansas City, where the Royals and Tigers were tied at 2 in the 6th when 40-year-old Miguel Cabrera stepped to the plate. The call from 97.1 the ticket.
The 1-2 is swinging line drive, base hit into right field. Carpenter around third, he will score. Baez around second, heading to third. Gary Jones will hold him there. How about that? Miguel Cabrera takes a 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Carlos Hernandez to right center, and the Tigers have a 3-2 lead here in the 6th.
Number 2.
The Astros playing in Denver against the Rockies. Chas McCormick cracks his 4th home run in the last 4 games. The call on KBME 790 AM.
The 2-1. And that is hammered deep to left field. It sends back Profar onto the warning track at the wall, looking up. See you later! Chas McCormick with a 2-run homer. And the Astros have a 4-0 lead. McCormick goes deep for the 12th time this year.
Number 1.
The Cubs and Nationals tied at 3 in the 8th at Wrigley when the home team explodes for 5 runs. 4 of them on one swing from the Cubs radio network.
He sets at the belt and delivers the 1-1. Horner swings, drills one, deep left center field. This could go! Grand slam! Nico Horner, first grand slam of his career. 8-3 Cubs over the Nationals here in the 8th.
Cubs with 5 in the 8th yesterday after Tuesday's game where they scored 14 in their final 2 at-bats. That'll do it for Sports Center All Night. I'm Jay Reynolds. It's Thursday, July 20th, birthday of Ben Simmons. He's 27. Another year older and another year vested in the NBA. Zach Lowe reporting he's been credited with a year of service for the season where he held out from the Sixers and was eventually traded to the Nets. Sources say it's a standalone, not intended as a precedent. Joe and Amber take over mornings. They're next. It's ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Williams. Coming up on Thursday. Just how many samples did I have at the grocery store this time? Wait until you hear my answer. It might just upset Pat and Yates. Don't miss it. 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN app, and ESPNU.
Everyone said I wouldn't find a quality teaching degree online. Everyone except WGU. Their respected school of education offers over 30 respected education degree programs and has CAEP and AAQEP accreditation, the same accreditations as schools charging much more. Their unique model lets me use what I know to graduate faster. They also provide a path for teacher licensure in any of the 50 states. Learn more about WGU and apply today.
Everyone said I should go to a traditional university, but I chose WGU. Their online RN to BSN degree is perfect for working nurses like me. I'm able to use my experience to move through courses faster, and the study time I put in between shifts actually pays off at work. WGU's CCNE accredited degrees are built by healthcare leaders, so I know I'll be graduating from a top-notch BSN program that employers respect. Learn more at wgu.edu.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
It's back to school at Ala Moana Center. Redeem $400 in Ala Moana Center receipts dated July 17th through August 6th, and you'll receive a limited edition back to school retro lunchbox. For details, visit alamoanacenter.com.
Don't you love our Arizona tap water? I don't think so. May is perfect purified drinking water month. Hi, I'm Wayne Decker, owner of Plum Smart Plumbing, Heating, and Air. For the entire month of May, we are offering 50% off our price for the new state-of-the-art water purifiers in our O system. We're about half the other guys to start, and now 50% of that price. A deal that will not be matched. Plum Smart, because plumbers charge too much. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Plum Smart.
Wells Fargo gives you access to direct deposit funds up to 2 days early.
Plus, if you look at the X and Y axes...
What if everything came 2 days early? Like the weekend.
Well, That was a pleasant surprise.
You can't get everything early, but when it comes to direct deposits, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/get-early to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Not all direct deposits are eligible. Early availability is not guaranteed and may vary between deposits from the same payer. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
The best time to get a great deal on a Ram truck is now. During the Ram Make This the Summer event. Hurry in and make this the summer you drive a Ram. And now get 10% below MSRP or 2.9% financing for 72 months on the purchase of a 2023 Ram 1500 Bighorn. Not compatible with lease offers or any other consumer incentive offers. 2.9% APR financing for 72 months equals $1,515 per month per 1,000 finance for well-qualified buyers through Chrysler Capital regardless.
This is ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like
Good morning, America. Amber Wilson, Joe Fortenbaugh here with you. Joe, I feel like we just did this a few hours ago on Joe and Amber, which ends at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's how you plug, right? Joe Fortenbaugh. And now here we are, 6 a.m. Eastern, bright and early. It's good to be back with you.
Yeah, 6 a.m. for you, 3 a.m. for me here in Las Vegas. So I guess the determination or the big question at the moment is, am I up late or am I up early this morning? But it's always great to be speaking with you. We just did this last night. We get to run some of the conversations back. I think we got a lot of new stuff in store as well.
We do have new stuff because we have actual sports going on right now, whether it is late for you or whether it is early for you. ESPN Radio is presented to you by Progressive Insurance, the 151st Open Championship. It is here. It is happening as we speak at Royal Liverpool, hosting the Claret Jug for the first time since 2014 in Hoylake, England. All the best golfers in the world are there. Are you tuned into this from a betting angle? I would imagine sports happening at 3 a.m. works out quite well for you that you, in fact, are working at 3 a.m. right now.
Very much so. I'm actually down money very early in this event. Most people don't even realize it started yet. I'm in the negative early. Made a little wager last night that we talked about with Hideki Matsuyama to have a better opening round than Jason Day. That's not working out to my favor, but there's still plenty of time to go. This is one of the allures to the Open Championship for a lot of professional bettors here in Las Vegas. They will get together and watch this event over the next 4 days from start to finish. They're at the bar right now, and that might sound crazy, but everything's 24 hours here in Las Vegas, so it's not as crazy as it may seem to people outside of this area.
Now, if I was you, you're home right now, but if I was you, I think I would be at the ESPN studios in Vegas on the Strip because the Strip would make me feel awake at 3 a.m. Like you got up this morning at 1:30, which 1:30 is late at night. That's not early in the morning. Maybe 3, we could start having the conversation about whether that becomes early in the morning. For me, that threshold is more like 3:34, where I feel like, all right, now we're talking next day instead of just the night before. But if you were on the Strip right now, you would feel like you should be up. Like it's 4 in the afternoon.
No, I can assure you I do not want to be on the Las Vegas Strip right now. We do Daily Wager, which we do Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. We do a show during football season on Sunday mornings. It airs 6 a.m. Eastern time, which means for us, or it airs 9 a.m. Eastern and airs 6 a.m. Pacific, which means we're in there around 4 a.m., which means you're crossing through the casinos around 3 in the morning. The last place you want to be if you're trying to get your head right for a day of work is the casino floor in Las Vegas at 3 a.m. It's the zombie hour where everyone's just kind of making their way around, still trying to figure out if there's one last bad decision to make before shutting it down for the evening.
You see all the worst decisions in life right there on the casino floor at 3 or 4 in the morning. But you get that shot of oxygen as you walk through the casino.
Yeah, there's that.
My experience with this a little bit was in Miami. So in Miami, there are certain clubs that close at like 9 in the morning, right? If you've ever been to Miami, you probably are familiar with Club Space being one of those clubs. One time I was driving from Lauderdale to Key West when I lived down there. And I thought, you know what? It was like 7 in the morning. And we had this crazy idea. I was young. Me and the person I was driving with, we had this crazy idea. We're like, you know what? Let's just stop at Space and see what it's like. But we were just dead
check in
sober.
real quick.
Like, let's just give it a check-see. And I'd never been, by the way, to Space at this point. And so we decide it's a brilliant idea to stop at this nightclub at, 6:30 in the morning. morning, completely sober again, because we were waking up and starting our day. Well, that wasn't the situation for everybody else at this nightclub.
No.
And they had pushed everybody else onto this deck where, again, this is Miami. So now at this point, when I get to this nightclub, the sun is rising. Like, the sun is up. And this nightclub at this point is outside in the sun, which is just weird. And so everyone's outside and they're still like, you know, like with the techno music. And it's just a very bizarre sight. And I will tell you, kids, it was the best anti-drug commercial I've ever watched in my life. It really was. You don't want your kids to ever get involved in that. Just send them to one of those clubs that never closes at that time. And you will see some things.
That is still a better way to do it. Where I grew up, about an hour north of Philadelphia in Allentown, Pennsylvania, if it's late in the evening and everyone's still feeling a little bit frisky and you have someone who's of the wits where they can drive and drive legally, it's right onto the highway down to the Atlantic City Expressway down to Atlantic City to test your luck. And that's like 2.5 hours. I would much rather have been in your situation than that, because there's no greater feeling of impending doom than 3:30 a.m. completing a 2.5 hour car ride to get out of the car to begin an adventure in Atlantic City, of all places. City of Dreams.
I'm starting to realize why you are our betting expert here at ESPN, like why your livelihood in life took you this direction. It's all starting to make a lot of sense.
The life chose me. I didn't choose it, Amber.
Well, the life is choosing you this morning. You're already down when it comes to the Open Championship.
Plenty of room to come back. Plenty of room to come back.
It did just start, the 151st. We also have other sports this morning as well. The Women's World Cup. Over the next few days in the Women's World Cup, you'll see 32 teams. They're going to compete across 64 matches at 10 venues. That is happening in Australia and in New Zealand. The U.S. women's national team arrives at the tournament, of course, as the two-time defending champs and the favorite to win this thing again. That would be an unprecedented third consecutive title if the U.S. women's team is able to get it done here. So we will also be tuned into the World Cup this morning. Do you have any bets on the Women's World Cup, you degenerate?
No, I do not. And I don't take exception to that, by the way. I use that term as it's an endearing term.
It's a badge of honor for you. I know.
Yeah. I've got nothing yet. This is the type of event where I lean on people who know what they're talking about rather than shoot from the hip on my own. I do not know enough about women's soccer other than the fact that the U.S. tends to dominate. I believe they came into the tournament right around 6-1 to win this thing again, which I feel is a pretty good price if you want to ride with some patriotism. The last ride for Megan Rapinoe. Is there going to be the emotional angle throughout the course of this thing? But no action yet. But as it comes across my desk, I will relay it to you immediately.
There is always time. There is always time to place that action. We've got days of the Women's World Cup, but it's cool to have sports, frankly, as we wake up and start this show. That's unusual on this time slot. You and I are normally in the evening time slot, so we always got sports going on during Joe and Amber. But here on the morning show, it's very unusual to have the sports going on. There are 8 new countries that are playing their first Women's World Cup in this World Cup. They've expanded the field from 24 to 32. So 8 teams making their first appearance in this tournament: the Philippines, Ireland, Zambia, Haiti, Vietnam, Portugal, Panama, and Morocco. They are all making their first appearance in the Women's World Cup. We got sports, Joe.
We got sports indeed. I love getting up early for stuff like this. 2 events that have become, well, one of them is more of a one-off, but Formula One racing at around between 5 and 6 a.m. every Sunday morning really fills, to an extent, the gap left behind by football. I was living in San Francisco a few years ago when I first got into Formula One, like a lot of people did with the Drive to Survive series on Netflix. And I had 2 kids in a really small apartment. There was a baby, and then there was a soon-to-be 2-year-old. So on Sunday mornings, to try to give my wife a break, I would be the one that would sprint in there the moment you heard the slightest noise, because if one wakes up, the other wakes up, and then it's disaster, as any parent of 2 or more knows. So I would go sprinting in there, grab the one, race out to the living room, and then put them on the couch and have them watch the different colored cars make their way around the track. And, you know, you can get some action down on something like that as well. In addition, it wasn't that long ago, I want to say like a month maybe, the UFC on ABC had a card in Jacksonville. And because it was on ABC, the main card was taking place during the afternoon on the East Coast. But the first fight started at like 8:30 here in Las Vegas. So that's a wild way to start your weekend, to wake up on a Saturday and at 8:30 all the way through until early afternoon, you're just firing one fight after another with the UFC. So I'm good for it. I love when stuff starts this early. Roll right out of bed. I never understood how people on the East Coast, even though I used to live there, how people on the East Coast would wait till 1 p.m. on Sundays for their football to start. There's too much time to fill between when you wake up and when those games kick off.
See, waking up first thing in the morning and seeing people fight, that sounds like not something that I want involved in my
You don't need coffee,
frankly. I guess. I mean, I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to have my coffee in bed on a weekend. And now I'm watching people try to take each other's heads off. It seems like a strange combination there first thing in the morning. The morning sports concept, though, it's such a West Coast concept, like you just referenced. Yeah. And I've been an East Coaster my entire life. I've been in Florida my entire life. So I know nothing about that life. I used to think it sounded atrocious. Like, who's watching sports early? Because you get so accustomed over on the East Coast to just having sports later in the day. And that's when you think of your time to carve out for sports. Now that I'm this age, I could hang with it. I feel like it sounds like a good idea to get it done earlier in the day as well. Maybe even sometimes have some time on the back end. Like, now that I am this age, I find myself all the time complaining, why are these NBA playoff games on so late? I want to go to bed. I sound old, but it's the truth of the matter.
Monday Night Football wrapping before 9 p.m. is a wonderful thing. It is an absolutely wonderful thing. Same with Sunday Night Football, because most people, not judging, I'm one of them, like to get it in on Sunday. From the start of the games all the way through the Sunday nighter. I hate when that game ends at midnight on the East Coast, and then you got to get ready for work the next morning. Ending just before 9 p.m. out west here gives you plenty of time to hydrate and get ready for the next day, and at least make yourself look passable at work on a Monday.
That sounds glorious. Tailgating really early in the morning, that sounds like more of a feat to me, but I would imagine that there's some fun to be had there too. You're just cooking breakfast items instead of hot dogs and hamburgers on your portable grill later in the day. Coming up next here on ESPN Radio, Amber Wilson and Joe Fortenbaugh hanging out with you. Draymond Green is talking about the punch, but at this point, should we still be talking about this stupid punch? We'll get into that. ESPN Radio is also on the ESPN app.
Greeny.
If being on Hard Knocks creates any problems for this team, then they were going to have them anyway. You are the most interesting team in the NFL, and the Jets should embrace that.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Pizza. Little Caesars Crispy Chicken Pizza is here. Large pizzas with white sauce and crispy chicken topped with either a swirl of buffalo, barbecue, or garlic parm sauce. Or get it naked with no swirl at all. All for just $11.99. Order yours online today at LittleCaesarsHawaii.com or download the Little Caesars mobile app for your iPhone or Android. Located in Waianae, Wahiawa, Kaneohe, Waipahu, and in Town by University. For delivery or pickup with their grab-and-go pizza portal.
Pizza. There's a reason you aren't satisfied with the ordinary. You were made for adventure. A life with God doesn't have to be boring. It can be a pulse-pumping, heart-pounding life of purpose. And we can guide you there. The adventure awaiting you is bigger and more life-giving than you could ever imagine. Join Crossroads Church every weekend online for challenge, hope, and encouragement to guide you on your spiritual adventure. Join us at crossroads.net.
Hey, it's James T. Harris. Are you considering selling your home? Well, I've got good news if you are. You can get a guaranteed cash offer on your home today at a price agreeable to you from Carol Royce at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. These cash offers do not stink, and they're at market value. Again, get a guaranteed cash offer on your home at a price agreeable to you. Carol's price cash offer guarantee is awesome, and you'll sell your home for the most money. No gimmicks, no open houses, no showings, no staging, and with no hassle. Oh, and you can move when you want. This is hands down the best thing in real estate when it comes to selling your home for top dollar. Call Carol Royce now with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 480-776-5050. 480-776-5231. That's 480-776-5231. Or go to higherprice.com. That's higherprice.com and get a guaranteed cash offer on your home today. And then start packing.
Cool nights start with Ashley this summer. Visit your local Ashley store or ashley.com to explore our wide selection of mattresses from all the top mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic, Purple, and more. Plus, take advantage of low monthly payments with 60-month special financing. Give yourself the restful, rejuvenating sleep you need to be your best self this summer. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. No minimum purchase required. Minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery required. See store for details.
At Wells Fargo, if you accidentally overdraw your account, we give you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with an extra day?
Sunday night and I have the Sunday scaries.
Honey, don't be scared. Every weekend comes with an extra day now.
All right. TGI Sunday.
It helps to have an extra day. When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getextra to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to timing requirements and the bank's funds availability policy. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Draymond Green, he is still talking about that time that he punched his now former teammate, Jordan Poole, in what most people would call a sucker punch during practice. It was caught on camera. It became a big deal as we headed into this past season. It became a big deal throughout the season. It might be somewhat to blame for how things went this past season for the Golden State Warriors, and yet Draymond will not stop discussing it. He was on the Pat Bev podcast, and given Pat Bev, he asked him about the situation, but instead of just blowing off the question, here is Draymond Green.
I don't just hit people. Dialogue, of course, happens over time, and you usually ain't just triggered by something like that fast, to that degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a team, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody on my team triggering me, in an instant. We know stuff that you don't say amongst men. You know what I'm saying? We know things that you have to stand on.
It sounds like a justification. He's saying it wasn't just one thing, though, that it was a series of things that caused him to sucker punch Jordan Poole in the face.
Draymond's always been known to speak his mind. And if he's going to be asked a question about this, the avenue of, you know what, that's in the past. That was a mistake. I don't really want to get into it. Let bygones be bygones. We've all moved on. That's not really an option for him. He's going to go ahead and let you know exactly what he thinks. He's going to get his side of the story out there, which is what this feels like. That video is horrific. It appears to be a guy walking up to another guy and sucker punching him. And it appears to be that way because that's exactly what it is. Now, I'd imagine if you're him, you probably want to make it known at every turn. That's not exactly how it happened. It's not like Jordan Poole just said something that one time and I snapped. He had been building up. There had been other things that had been mentioned. But the reality is here, I don't see any win for Draymond with continuing to discuss this matter. It's a bad look. It was a bad look then. It's a bad look now. You've been in the NBA 11 years. You've won multiple championships. You've been an all-star, defensive player of the year. The Warriors traded him away. You won. In this entire situation, despite what we all saw happen, you won. You got exactly what you wanted with the new deal. Jordan Poole got shipped to Washington. You won. I don't see anything left to be gained from talking about it, but apparently he does, because maybe his side of the story isn't necessarily out there the way that he would like. Maybe Poole's still talking to some extent behind the scenes, and he feels that he needs to get more out there. It's just, overall, to me, it's just a bad look. For the Warriors, it should be about moving forward and trying to finish what they started, which is this dynasty. One more bookend on the back side of this thing. And anytime this comes up, it's going to continue to highlight a big problem the team had last season.
If Jordan Poole's talking, he is in fact doing it behind the scenes, because we're not seeing that from Jordan Poole. And he put up the cryptic Instagram message on his story in response to this, where he said, essentially, he quoted song lyrics, but he essentially said, you're the one who keeps talking, is what he kept saying. You're talking, go find a hobby, was what the lyrics suggested. And it does feel like it is Draymond that is continuously bringing this up. And Draymond won in the situation in terms of his bank account. He won because he got the deal. He won because Jordan Poole is now on the Washington Wizards, but he didn't win on the court. That's for sure. They didn't win on the court on the road last season, hardly at all. And they didn't win in the postseason against the Los Angeles Lakers. So how much of that has to do with Draymond disrupting that chemistry of this team early on with this sucker punch? I feel like probably a lot, because we're talking about Jordan Poole, a player that was pivotal to that championship run for the Golden State Warriors the season before. He was pivotal to them winning the actual championship the season before. And then he looked like a shell of himself after this sucker punch. And maybe he would have come back down to earth a little bit anyways, but it's easy to pinpoint the disruption of chemistry and blame Draymond to some extent. So I don't think it's a good look from the perspective that, yes, he sucker punched a man and we all saw it on camera, but it's not a good look from a basketball perspective either. And that's why I'm surprised he is the one who looks bad is the one who keeps bringing it up.
The evidence, I think, that this carried over throughout the course of the season, because the Warriors did everything to say that, they put it behind them, that they're trying to move forward, that it's about winning basketball games. Look no further than their road record. One of the most stark differences for anyone, they were 33-8 at home this season. Mm-hmm. They were fantastic. And they were a legitimate title contender coming off a championship winning season. They won 11 road games this past year. There were only 3 teams that had fewer wins on the road: the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Pistons. 3 teams that were at the top of the lottery when it came to draft picks. Now, why would you be so poor on the road? It's one thing to be below average on the road. It's another thing to be absolutely pathetic on the road when you're a team of their caliber. We understand the Spurs are going to struggle. The Warriors, the road is where the chemistry is built. The road is where the guys are hanging out. You're in the hotel rooms together. You're playing cards. You're going out to dinner. You don't have the responsibilities of your family and all the other things that take place when you're at home. When it's on the road, it's all about the basketball team. It's all about that life. And this team struggling that much on the road, I have to believe it had something to do with the fracture in the locker room from what happened with that video during the preseason.
I couldn't agree more. It feels like Draymond is trying to explain it away. Is there any way to explain away a sucker punch? I mean, it was the sucker punch component of this. It wasn't 2 guys getting into it at practice on an NFL field and everyone's got on pads and this is the thing that happens all the time, or it happens at training camp. You're hot. It's been a long day of practice. You get into a little argument and there's some pushing and shoving. It wasn't that. It was a straight up sucker punch when Jordan Poole was clearly not prepared for it and nobody was expecting it because nobody reacted. But I think part of it was the surprise that everybody had that it actually occurred. And so in my book, there ain't no way to explain that. Like, it doesn't matter if Jordan Poole had annoyed you for the last year and a half before that. Who cares if he had said over and over again things to you that frustrated you and it boiled over in that moment? It doesn't really matter because of the sucker punch component of it. And then what it does to the rest of your season, what it does to that road record. And we were talking about this road record from the second half of the season on, where we kept discussing how bad the Warriors were on the road and they couldn't get it together. They could never turn it around. They knew that narrative was out there. They knew how bad it was making them look, and then it ended up costing them dramatically in a postseason as well.
The video getting out didn't make matters better at all. If this was the type of thing that had stayed in-house to where a report surfaced from one of the reporters regarding a fight between these two, we have our imaginations, but ultimately with that not out there, it's he said, she said in terms of the public discourse for those who can't get the inside information from someone on the scene, right? But when that video gets out, Poole's essentially humiliated. That's what that comes down to. And that's pretty much the beginning of the end, because there's no way to repair that. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. He ended up getting dropped. And no matter what you want to say about it being a sucker punch or whatever may have led to it, once that video gets out and he's pretty much emasculated by that, I don't think that's going to be a guy looking to go ahead and mend fences down the road. Draymond appeared to try to mend fences. You saw moments in the playoffs, especially in that series against Sacramento, when Poole couldn't buy a bucket, where Draymond would try to say something to him as he was coming off the court, and he would just blow right past him. That was a serious issue for them all season long, and the cameras did pick it up.
I mean, if you sucker punched me, I'd blow right past you, too. That's the reality of the situation. Now, Anthony Poole, who is Jordan Poole's dad, has entered the chat. I don't know if this is a good move by anybody involved, but I understand.
It's not.
If you're a parent, I understand how you would want to try to defend your son. But he put out on Twitter, I'm going to stand on this. That's some BS. JP was his guy, and he avoided me all last year. He is a soft bleep, and I'm standing on this. And he didn't apologize to me and my wife, so he lame, and me and him can meet anytime he wants. I would say that if I'm Jordan Poole, I don't necessarily want my dad taking up my cause there and fighting on my behalf. Draymond did respond to that and wrote, "That's so cute. It's impossible to avoid you in an arena for a year, champ. I got to get my family from that family room every game and stop using those words. They usually don't go over well amongst men."
It's
I mean, what do you do?
There's like so much. I have to almost marinate in that entire quote and then that you read for a while to try to figure out how to best go about this. You're right. You don't want your dad fighting your battles. For Poole right now, I think it's all going to come down to just a fresh start in Washington and trying to get his career back on track. And then ultimately the best revenge is going to be living well and going out and producing at the highest possible level. Don't let what happened there completely derail your career, because he was ascending. The year before last, when he would fill in for Steph Curry, he was taking on that scorer's role. He was dropping 26, 28 a night in those spots where they needed him when Steph was out. He was seen as the heir apparent. Now he's gone. He's got to get that career back on track. He got the money, but if he wants to get the career back on track, and there's plenty of time to do so, he's going to have to get his head right with this whole thing. It's unfortunate what happened, but everybody continuing to talk about it, he's going to have to tune that noise out and get ready to play with Washington this year.
Yeah, he's a Washington Wizard. And I just don't know how easy it's going to be for him to look the same as it looked the season before in Golden State. I feel bad for Jordan Poole. I really do, because like you said, his career was on the right track. He was taking off. He was ascending. There's a reason that the Warriors handed him the contract that they handed him, and he did get paid. His bank account is fine, but his NBA career may not be fine coming off of this, because it was a huge dip this past season. We'll see how much of that just was him needing a different environment coming off of what happened here with Draymond Green. But yes, I don't know if you want your dad fighting your battles. And frankly, I don't really even know if Draymond owes an apology to Jordan Poole's parents. I think he owes an apology to Jordan Poole himself for sucker punching him in the face, and probably nobody else. Coming up next year on ESPN Radio, Amber Wilson and Joe Fortenbaugh hanging out with you. James Harden removed the 76ers from his social media bio, but will they remove him from their roster? That after Joe has this word from Grainger.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers high-quality supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as access to product specialists who have the knowledge and experience to answer your toughest questions. Plus, their commitment to being your safety partner can help you keep your facility safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
If it's about winning championships or giving myself the best opportunity, I'm looking at the Philadelphia 76ers if I'm James Harden.
Want him to come back, obviously, so we can go out and accomplish what we want, which is to win a championship.
It's back to school at Ala Moana Center. Redeem $400 in Ala Moana Center receipts dated July 17th through August 6th, and you'll receive a limited edition back-to-school retro lunchbox. For details, visit alamoanacenter.com.
Geneva Financial has been named a Best Military Home Loan Lender by NMP Magazine. We're also a leading lender in assistance programs for first responders, medical, and educators. Details at mortgagearizona.com. Equal Housing Opportunity, NMLS 42056, BK0910215.
Summer's just around the corner, so when you're offering building services to your customers, why not add another string to your bow? Plungy. Plungy's patented range of award-winning prefabricated concrete pools means you don't need to be a pool builder to install one. It's fast, easy, and high quality. So expand that range of services you offer and increase your margins with Plungy. Call 855-PLUNGY. That's PLUNGIE. Or visit Plungy.com.
130 million households will need to pay a new can tax so Cleveland Cliffs can line their pockets. Cleveland Cliffs is demanding tariffs on tin plate steel, which is used for canned goods. How much? Up to a 300% increase that makes everyday essentials more expensive, hitting you and the most vulnerable hardest at a time when consumers can least afford it. Tell Congress, protect consumers from even higher grocery prices. Say no to the Cleveland Cliffs can tax.
Chlorinated water is for swimming, not drinking or bathing. Cities add chlorine to your water, causing dry skin and hair. A LifeSource water system is the solution to your water worries. A LifeSource system filters your water from every tap, reducing the harsh taste and feel of chlorine and giving you softer skin and hair without maintenance, no salt, filters, or servicing. Call 888-208-1159 for a free consultation or visit LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
DQ presents Picture This. You're getting together with all your best friends. Now picture all your best friends are actually the delicious ingredients of the new cake batter cookie dough blizzard. That's DQ soft serve, cake batter flavor, confetti cookie dough pieces, and DQ signature sprinkles. Oh, hey, it sounds like you got some pretty sweet friends. And that's worth cueing the confetti. Cookie dough! The flavor party isn't going to last forever, so hurry in and get your cake batter fixed today. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Everyone said I should go to a traditional university, but I chose WGU. Their online RN to BSN degree is perfect for working nurses like me. I'm able to use my experience to move through courses faster, and the study time I put in between shifts actually pays off at work. WGU's CCNE accredited degrees are built by healthcare leaders, so I know I'll be graduating from a top-notch BSN program that employers respect. Learn more at wgu.edu.
I need a degree from a university that understands what it's like to juggle school and a busy work schedule. I thought higher education wasn't built for me. Then I discovered WGU. I take courses on my own time, set my own deadlines, test when I'm ready. A respected degree from an accredited university built with working adults in mind? I choose WGU. Learn more at www.wgu.edu/University of U.
Everyone says you can't earn a respected bachelor's in business online. Everyone except WGU. They offer degrees in finance, HR, business management, marketing, accounting, IT, and even healthcare management. WGU College of Business also holds ACBSP accreditation, the same distinction as other universities charging much more. A Harris poll showed that WGU bachelor's graduates earn more than $14,000 per year after completing their degree, and grads work for top industry leaders. Learn more today.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
5063.
Tall left-handed hitter stays fairly away from the plate. Swung on by Benson, hit well. Left center field. That ball is going out of here. Will Benson with an opposite field home run, a 3-run homer, and just like that, the Reds have taken the lead 3-0.
That is what it sounded like when Will Benson hit a 3-run homer and the Cincinnati Reds snapped San Francisco's 7-game win streak with a 3-2 victory over the Giants. The Yanks, they struggled. Stop me if you've heard this before. The Yanks struggles, they continue as they fell to the Angels 7-3 yesterday. The Yanks have lost 4 straight and 9 of the last 11. SportsCenter is presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com.
This about winning championships or giving myself the best opportunity to win a championship. I'm looking at the Philadelphia 76ers if I'm James Harden.
So James Harden has spoken to Daryl Morey since the first trade request. And, he's spoken again, and he still reiterated he wants to be traded.
Want him to come back, obviously, so we can go out and accomplish what we want, which is to win a championship. So hopefully that his mindset can be changed.
We are going to get to the mess that is Joe's Philadelphia 76ers in just a moment. It's amazing that somehow they're still a mess with the reigning MVP on your team there, Joe. Joe Fortenbaugh, Amber Wilson hanging out with you. ESPN Radio is presented to you by Progressive Insurance. Before we get to that, though, we're going to take a phone call. And we always welcome you to chime into the conversation here on ESPN Radio. 888 say ESPN 888-729-3776. That is where we find Juwan. Juwan is from Ohio. Hey, Juwan, thanks for the call. What do you have?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Okay, at one point in time, Amber, you got to quit saying Draymond Green sucker punched Jordan Poole. Clearly, Jordan Poole was out of line. Steph knew it. Steph addressed it after the playoffs. Steph tried to speak to the boy. He didn't want to listen. Steph wanted that Draymond up. When you disrespect a man like that, just keep saying that this word, this word, this word, this word. It's no longer a sucker punch. It's not. That's all I had to say. It's no longer a sucker punch after. That's fair game.
I mean, all right, Juwan, but, sticks and stones, right? Well, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I never understand this about professional athletes, and I get it. I'm not a man. I'm not inside a locker room, whatever. This idea that a dude calls you a word or a name or says something, I mean, goodness, y'all should fire up my DMs for 10 seconds as a woman in this business, and you can't handle a word or a name, you're famous. It's all you hear. All you hear is criticism, right? And not all of it's constructive. And so it's always interesting to me when it's just somebody saying something and then we resort to physical violence. In my book, that's hardly ever any sort of justification for it. But the reason I keep calling it a sucker punch is because Jordan Poole was clearly not ready for a physical altercation.
But isn't a sucker punch something that you don't see coming, right?
Isn't that the definition of it?
I feel like he didn't see it coming.
He absolutely seen it coming because he was like in front of the punch. You know what I'm saying?
So you can't sucker punch somebody in the face. You can only sucker punch somebody in the back of the head.
If I push Joe Fortenbaugh and Joe Fortenbaugh cracked me, I'm already he can't sucker punch me because my back's not to him.
Right, but you pushed him in that scenario.
Yeah,
so you're almost
the
inviting the altercation, right?
Yeah, that's just you being a not prepared fighter. If
Did
you
Poole
get
shove
sucker
him?
punched, no, he did. I'm just painting an example. If you don't see the punch coming, that's a sucker punch. If you see it coming and you don't do nothing about it and you don't move out the way, that's on you.
But that's such a
how are you supposed to move? How are you supposed to move out of the way if you don't see it coming?
Right.
Because it's not a sucker punch. That's just a punch that you didn't avoid.
See, for me, a sucker punch is when there's no anticipation for it whatsoever. So you don't see it coming, and I don't mean you don't physically see it coming. I mean you don't anticipate it coming either. So to me, you can get sucker punched in the face if it's a scenario where you don't expect somebody to punch you whatsoever. You're having a normal conversation with somebody and bam, they deck you and knock you out. Like that to me is a sucker punch, even if you're physically facing them.
I guess my view of it is like if you get pushed, regardless of if you're the person who's pushing or you're the person who got pushed, the subsequent thing after a push is most likely a punch being thrown. So I can't call it a sucker punch. It's definitely a bad thing to do for sure, but I don't know if I'm rocking with it if it's a sucker punch, though.
Well, either way, it was a punch, and it was a punch that I don't think Jordan Poole was anticipating, whether it was a sucker punch or not. And Draymond's on a tour right now to try to justify it.
At 3:37 a.m. I'm going to be completely honest. I was not anticipating breaking this down at 3:37 a.m. Thank you, Yates, for taking this to an entirely different level. I thought this was a casual wake up at 1:15 a.m. situation. Fill in on the morning show, have a few laughs. Now we're breaking down in Zapruder-like fashion the Draymond Green, Jordan Poole punch, which, again, highlights the NBA's ability to stay in the headlines for all the drama. And I know we're going to get to Harden here in a second, but the ability of this entity to produce so much high-level drama at every turn. James Harden, Damian Lillard, everything that's going on with LeBron. Is it a sucker punch? Is it a not sucker punch? I mean, this has taken on a WWE type turn where when in the late 90s, when I was watching WWE, the matches were one thing and then the promos were an entirely different thing. Like the drama before and after all that stuff was just as appealing, which is what the NBA has become. You have the playoffs, which is the basketball you want to watch, and then you have the drama, which fills up the other, 10 months of the year.
We are now breaking down film from what happened a year ago between these two players that are no longer even teammates. And that's where Draymond Green has gotten us with his comments about this thing. But you're right. That is the NBA. And frankly, it's great for the NBA. Not these guys getting into a physical altercation.
Careful now.
But the drama is great for the NBA. It has become a soap opera. Each and every offseason is a soap opera in that sport. It frankly heightens the star power of everybody involved, and it makes that sport so relevant all year long. So I do think that it makes the NBA so much more fun with all of this drama. And included in the drama is this situation in Philadelphia with James Harden. That's how you segue.
There you go.
James Harden. Apparently, he still wants out from Philadelphia. We did hear that from Daryl Morey. He did, in fact, confirm James Harden still wants out. But are they, Joe, actually going to get rid of James Harden? We have seen Morey in the past be incredibly patient. So patient that he'll allow a player in Ben Simmons to sit out for an entire season before he moves him. He is a general manager who is not necessarily willing to fold to the desires of the player.
If James Harden wants out, James Harden's getting out. That's how it works in the NBA, especially with star level talent. And it's especially how it works with James Harden because we've seen it before. He wanted out of Houston. He got out of Houston. He wanted out of Brooklyn. He got out of Brooklyn. If he wants out of Philadelphia, he'll get out of Philadelphia because the leverage is on his side. He's going to sit back and he's going to tell the Sixers he's not going to play until he's traded. And the Sixers can sit there and try to do anything they want to try to put him in a bad spot. But what are they ultimately going to do? Harden's not going to care if he has to sit out some games with a, quote, hamstring injury while he's still getting paid, because that's the leverage. The Sixers are on the hook for the contract. These things are fully guaranteed. It's not like a scenario with Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs where if they don't sign their franchise tenders, they can hold out, but they don't get paid. Harden's getting paid one way or another. He just has to have, some back spasms or a quad injury, something that prevents him from getting on the court, but something that keeps him getting paid on a weekly or biweekly basis, whatever it is in the NBA. So Morey's going to have to figure something out because at the same time, Morey doesn't have a 10-year plan. All right. Life expectancies are very short when it comes to head coaches, front office general managers. Look at what happened in Phoenix. Look at what happened in Milwaukee with the coaching staffs this past offseason. So Morey's going to have to make a move. Now, he's not going to make a move in impetuous style. He's going to sit back and he's going to wait. He's probably going to hope that in some way, shape, or form, Harden really wants to play somewhere and he's willing to accept a little bit. But you can't take pennies on the dollar because if you take pennies on the dollar, you're not going to win. Embiid's likely going to want out after the season's over, and then you're going to get fired anyway. So Morey's in an impossible spot. He's going to try to get some return on the investment here. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to pull off.
I mean, he's not in an incredibly impossible spot because James Harden did opt in, which advantage to the Sixers because now they get something in return for James Harden, right? As opposed to him not bothering to opt in. He could have just gone somewhere else. They wouldn't have gotten anything in return for James Harden. So I don't think that they're in the worst situation that they've been in by any means. I also don't believe Daryl Morey. I think that this is a negotiation tactic. Yes, I've seen him be patient in the past. It was a very different situation with Ben Simmons, a very different market for Ben Simmons, and also a very different relationship between Daryl Morey and Ben Simmons. We know about the relationship between Daryl Morey and James Harden. And he even referenced it when he talked about James Harden still wanting out. He said, I still have a good relationship with James Harden. If it's true and you still have that good relationship that extends all the way back to your time with him at Houston, then you're going to end up honoring to some extent his wishes, which is why James Harden opted in, because James Harden trusts Daryl Morey that eventually they will be on the same page and they will get this thing done. I agree with you. I don't think he stays and plays for the Philadelphia 76ers. Coming up next year on ESPN Radio, Amber Wilson and Joe Fortenbaugh. Our ESPN Radio Rankem series continues with Joe's Top 5 Pretenders.
Camp to camp, every rep, team to team.
It's on this field where fortunes are made or lost.
Continuing coverage. The countdown to kickoff rolls on. 49 days until the NFL season begins.
Yeah, I like football season, and all the things that go with it.
The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app. and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
Pizza, pizza. Little Caesars Crispy Chicken Pizza is here. Large pizzas with white sauce and crispy chicken topped with either a swirl of buffalo, barbecue, or garlic parm sauce. Or get it naked with no swirl at all for just $11.99. Order yours online today at littlecaesarshawaii.com or download the Little Caesars mobile app for your iPhone or Android. Located in Waianae, Wahiawa, Kaneohe, Waipahu, and in Town by University. For delivery or pickup with their grab-and-go pizza portal. Pizza, pizza.
Hey, it's James T. Harris. Are you considering selling your home? Well, I've got good news if you are. You can get a guaranteed cash offer on your home today at a price agreeable to you from Carol Royce and Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. These cash offers do not stink, and they're at market value. Again, get a guaranteed cash offer on your home at a price agreeable to you. Carol's price cash offer guarantee is awesome, and you'll sell your home for the most money. No gimmicks, no open houses, no showings, no staging, and with no hassle. Oh, and you can move when you want. This is hands down the best thing in real estate when it comes to selling your home for top dollar. Call Carol Royce now with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 480-776-5231. That's 480-776-5231, or go to higherprice.com. That's higherprice.com and get a guaranteed cash offer on your home today, and then start packing.
Looking to make a change in your child's education? Now's the time to choose a better option.